Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is the day of the return of the Felony. I'm going down to Langley right now to pick up a U-Haul trailer. I borrowed my father-in-law's truck. Thank you, Richard, for letting me borrow trusty steed to be hauling this thing home. My buddy Steven's meeting up with me. I'm going to pick him up at Porsche, and we're going to go down together. He's going to help me push the car onto the trailer, do loading and everything, because he's a pro. I am, for whatever reason, severely nervous. I have no idea why. I have all my paperwork and stuff. Just have to go through customs and deal with all that garbage, and the car will be home. And then we're going to get it running, and then we're going to tear it down and start to build it. Anyway, I'm like super, I don't know, I have knots in my stomach. I guess it's excitement, nervous excitement, or whatever. Yeah, Felony's gonna be home. We'll see you down probably in Washington once again. Let's go. Okay, go Putsch. Steven's back. Hey. We're doing this for the second time because I dropped the fuzzy guy on the mic, but we're at the storage unit. We're about to heave-ho the car out of there all the way around. We're gonna point it forward, back the trailer in, and we're gonna get it home. How are you feeling? Are you feeling strong?
Yes, let's do it before the rain hits. Yeah, it's a piece of shit. This needs work.
What do you mean?
God.
It's fine.
It's worse than I thought.
Oh yeah, of course.
This is gonna be sick when you're done with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see,
Amazing.
it's cool stuff. Here, you want a present?
Oh, cool, a souvenir. Oh.
I already tried that. It's not as good as you'd think.
Wouldn't think so.
All right. You want to see my anti-theft device?
Yes.
You didn't see that. Basically, get it turned around and lined back up, and then we got this whole nice hill to root it onto the trailer.
You can do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Highly preferred just driving the damn thing on, but I'm not a master mechanic. Well, we are in Canada, and 68 Mustang named Felony behind us. We did it. It's coming home. Holy shit. I'm like, all the knots in my stomach are gone, and yeah, we're going back to the shop. That's literally going to be sitting next to the Verdict in like a half an hour. As long as we can, our fat asses can shove it off the car trailer. The importing process, be prepared to wait at the US side, and if you use a broker like I did, Canada was like, what, 5 minutes, Steven?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like that, so I'm pretty happy that was not that bad, although unfortunately we'll be in rush hour dropping off the trailer. We're going back to a 68 Mustang, and we're having a beer because it's time to celebrate. Anyway, we'll see you back at the shop. and Felony together at last. All right, guys, hell of a day. I had a karting event to go to after we dropped off the car, and I had to get Steven back to his car, so we basically plopped her in here, and well, I haven't really done anything since. I'm gonna make a list and get an idea of stuff I want to start with tomorrow. I'm gonna go ham at it, get at it bright and early, and start figuring out what the problem is. I could stop doing anything with cars and just having these two together. That's a big life goal for me. I could be finished right now and be just a happy car guy for the rest of my life. But let's tear it all apart. I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. So, we're getting this running today. I have a whole bunch of ideas of why it's not. A lot of things to check. Got some things I'm gonna pull off, reinstall, reclock, retime, the whole 9 yards. I'm gonna make the Felony run today. It's gonna do a burnout. Ooh, that's good stuff. All right, let's make it happen. We have an older version of myself here. Dad's here helped me today. Got the valve cover off the passenger side, and I'm gonna crank the pulley over to top dead center by getting these two parallel. That'll show that it's on compression, and then stick a dowel down the hole and get it to the top. And also once I do that, I'm going to rotate it over again to the next compression stroke, which should be number 3 there. And if it goes from here to here, that's going to verify our 137, because a lot of people are going, have you verified the firing order? Yes, we have, but this will 100% do it. Going after there, I'm going to reclock the distributor, and like I said, to kind of humor the myth, I'm going to point the rotor at number 1, and then we'll put it all back together and see if that changes anything, and then we'll look at the carburetor. But we're getting closer.
Just a bit more. I'd say that looks.
There's no way that's it.
That's level. Yeah.
So I'm off. That would be advanced. That's TDC. That's where I had it.
Why is it pointing that way?
That's where I clocked it. When you put the distributor in the body orientation, like it can only go one way because of the vacuum advance, but this is what I'm saying, like the rotor, it shouldn't matter if it's at number 1. It's just where you drop it in and where it's pointing at TDC. That's where you put number 1 to start.
Number 1.
And then you give it 12 degrees advanced or whatever. Because that crank should show 0 too.
So we're gonna throw the valve cover back on. Dad's popping the plug in. I reclocked TDC on the distributor, and I put the one post where the old distributor was, because that one was indexed, so one's always pointing at the back, sort of 12 o'clock, and then you have your vacuum advance pointing kind of 6. I caught a couple videos. One guy, he's got a GT350, and he clocks his straight 12 and 6. The clock, not cylinders. Anyway, we verified we are on compression stroke and everything's good there. First we tried the compression gauge, just cranking it by hand, and that didn't show because it's not forceful enough, just by cranking it by hand. We stuck the paper towel down the hole and then rotated over, and then it popped out. So we knew we were on the right stroke, and now we're just gonna put the firing order back in, valve cover back on, check that if this was the issue, if it was clocked wrong, if that mattered. If not, then we'll start looking at voltage next. So we're doing the Thunderhead 289 trick, trying to find our spark, top dead center. So Dad's rotating the distributor with key on, and if we get it past the number 1, we should see a spark down there, which we're not.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean we have a bad ground? I'm wondering.
All right, so did the old trick from Thunderhead 289's video. Put the coil wire in the coil, put a spark plug in the other end of it. We tested the ground on the block. We got spark at the end of the coil wire. So coil's working. We then put ignition on, coil hooked up, and then we put a plug in the number 1, and we rotated the cap back and forth past TDC, and we weren't getting spark at the plug. And now I verified that I had spark before with a different wire, and I think this one, being an old spark plug wire, it's not seating down correctly, so I think we might be having an issue there. So I'm actually just going to go and grab MSD plug wires that'll fit a blaster on a ready to run, and that eliminates that as a variable. Then we're going to come back and try and crank it up. Trying to do it as methodically as possible and not explode a valve or, you know, fire a gunshot out the tailpipe. But I'm just going to go give them a call, make sure they have it, get a part number, and then we'll go. All right, we've been messing with it for a few hours, and I think we're getting close. We got a nice fire out the carburetor, and it's got spark. We know it's got fuel. We did some stuff with the distributor, and see if it fires off right now. Whoa, that's 180 out. Don't know how it's not timed. Oh. Dad and I got it close. It's like wanting to catch, but it all kind of and then like stops, and like it's got an intermittent crank now because I'm sure the battery's fried. So I'm gonna let a new battery charge, but I'm like right there. We tried everything, 180 out, all that. We redid timing, everything. Like I just don't know. Bore scoped all the cylinders. There's no signs of damage or like bent valves or anything. Like, I just don't know what it could be. I'm enjoying working on it. It's not like it sucks or anything. It's just like I'm still like racking my brain. Like, why won't it fire? It's got everything. It's got fuel. It's got air and spark and all. Like, I don't know. Come back to it. I'll see you guys in a few. Okay, got a fairly fresh battery in it. Took the timing back a little bit. Wanted to catch. Okie doke, it is Groundhog Day number 10,000. Back at it. As you saw a little earlier, had the car kind of chugging and sort of burping to life. Still not running properly, still not running really. I've checked the timing a million different ways, and I'm suspecting that this carb is like, something's wrong with it. Because once we put it on, yes, it ran good for a little bit, like 5 minutes, but it died. And it shouldn't have. So I'm suspecting something's weird with it. I actually ran to Mopac this morning and grabbed a fuel pressure gauge and a regulator, just a mechanical. Where is it? Here we go. Fell on the floor. I just grabbed a mechanical regulator that I can plumb in line on the rubber hose. I'm gonna see if I can, I'm gonna put the gauge on, see how much pressure we have just from the pump, and if it's 6 or under, good. If it's anything over, I'm gonna put the regulator on, dial it back, and we'll see if that changes anything. If not, start to look at the carburetor. Maybe I might try and flip the timing 180 again, I'll see, but I really don't think that's it. I really don't want to time this thing again. So this little fuel pressure gauge was only, I think, $30, and just goes in line with 3/8 fuel hose on a couple hose clamps. You do have to get a fitting that has the barb ends of the hose that screws in the back of the gauge, otherwise you use like AN line or something like that. This was pretty straightforward, just wanted to plumb it in and see where we were at. Pretty sure I found the problem. That's after it's dropped off, so I'm pretty sure that's way too much fuel. Okay, so there's 10 pounds of fuel pressure going into this carb, and I think that's too much. That could be causing us a big issue. I don't know. I got some figuring to do, but that is definitely not good. So the next hors d'oeuvre of business was to plumb in the mechanical fuel pressure regulator. Took off the gauge and the fuel filter that I had just reinstalled. Cut and spliced the hose, put some hose clamps on, got it installed. See if it cranked up. Okay, right at 5. The fuel pressure regulator definitely helped the situation. The car wanted to run a bit more, and I actually got it to chug like a tractor again a lot more consistently. Finally, I just decided that it was time to jump 12 volts to the coil and just see if that's where our issue was, which is something I should have tried from the very beginning. So I just spliced a ring terminal on a 14 gauge wire, connected it to the coil, stuck the other end of the battery, and well, God, so ridiculous the whole time. It was bad voltage. Listen to it, it's purring. Aside from the belt, I can tighten that up. We're in business. All right, I'm gonna properly wire that, and it's time for burnout. Good morning, my friends. Spent a little bit of time last night sort of tidying up. Plug wires all off and sort of organized them a little bit better. Did the zip tie wire separators, as you do being a modern day hot rodder. Poking around this morning, found some absolute garbage. So this is the main loom to the voltage regulator and the alternator harness. And that, as you can see, is disgusting. And this thing will focus. You can see there that it's not even like soldered or crimped or anything. That's just twisted together wires, electrical taped, which is absolutely brutal. That explains why there's so many wiring anomalies with this car. Not impressed. I could tear it all apart and rip it all out and redo it, but to that extent, I'd be tearing apart the rest of the car. I don't want to invest that amount of time just to get it running with proper wiring to do a burnout and drive around town for a day. Way to run a circuit 12 volts to the coil with a fuse, so I'm gonna go grab an inline fuse and stuff, and I'm just gonna do it like that. It works, whatever. Yeah, just absolute trash wiring. But what are you gonna do? So I'm gonna make a quick list, get a few things together. I'm gonna wire in that button and that ignition, and we'll take it for a drive. Okay, so spent a little bit of time wiring up a new switch for the coil. I put an inline fuse, and this is, I think, a 25 amp switch, so we should be okay. Hopefully it doesn't pop the coil or anything like that. Made a little block off plate for the radio section. I'm just gonna drill a hole for the switch and then just tech screw it right to the old trim here because it's all cut anyways. Then it's time to drive it. Feels like I'm back in California. All right, ignition on. See if it shifts. That belt's terrible. Put it on the street. All right, torque the wheels, tighten the belt, evened out the tire pressures. Feels decent, although something's rattling around that wasn't really rattling before. Old car shit, I guess. All right, I'm gonna take it around the block and see how she does. It is rush hour here in Maple Ridge, so let's see how that goes. Probably not well. I also don't have signals. Hand signals it is. It rolls right along. even like an old man stock form, this car is a boatload of fun. Just driving it around with like no power steering, like wacky ignition wiring. It died at the store, overheated. I'm pretty sure I was too advanced on timing and it wasn't wanting to start up back up. So I'm gonna get a timing light on it at some point, but basically the schedule is I'm gonna drive it for a few days and then we're gonna tear it apart. It's been a hell of an experience getting the car to this point, getting it here to the house in company of the verdict. It's gonna be a good year, guys. This thing is gonna be wicked. I know people are probably looking at the roof like wringing their neck and stuff. Like, I'm not scared of any of this. I have very clear vision now. It's even clearer now that the car is with me, and this thing's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so awesome. We have a 302 in it that we can rebuild and refresh. It's got a little tick to it. Investigate that, but it could very well just need a set of heads and a refresh and be good. Get some pretty wicked burnouts, man. These tires are junk, but they sure do smoke nice. I own a 68 Mustang. I own a 2015 Mustang. This is me. Unreal. Like, all the other cars are amazing. This whole fleet is amazing. But this right now, just this feeling, I don't know. They're just machines, man. Like, I don't know. This is awesome. It's time to wrap up. I will see you back here next week where we are gonna start tearing into Felony, uncovering all the rest of the demons, seeing what we gotta replace and fix and change and modify and cut and grind and weld. I'm so stoked. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching so much. Please take time to hit the notifications button if you're already subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button. It helps out the channel, it helps me out, it helps out with things like this. All the support matters. And once you're subscribed, make sure to add me on Instagram, add me on Facebook, all that good stuff. Hit me up if you got questions. Feel free to drop tips and everything, like I said in the last episode. I'm always game to chat car stuff with anybody. So please go out, find the project you want, do what you gotta do to get it home, get it running. As always, guys, be kind, drive hard, and I will see you on the road. Later.